Are you far right?
Yeah.
You're far right?
Yeah.
What does that mean to be far right?
I think it means that you have to believe in.
There's community here. That's all I can say, there's community here. If you're not afraid of the flags, you appreciate British people have a right to raise their flag. And there's nothing to be afraid of here. So far it's been pleasant, so far it's been very pleasant. No one's been remotely racist towards me. So, what can I say? Hello everyone, I'm here at this very important march for freedom of speech and for the white working classes of Britain. No matter how you see that, it's very important to them for many, many reasons, and I'm here to see, and just to see the general vibe, get a good energy, see if there's any good energy. If the vibe's good, if the vibe's not good, at least I'll win it for myself. If there's any change, what caused that change? What was the reason behind the problems? I want to be here to see it for myself. And I think being here, I get the opportunity to see it for myself rather than hear it from third party. You know, is this a racist movement? Is this just a movement of the people for all the right reasons, all the wrong reasons? We're going to find out today. Well, that's what I'm here to see. Well, I'll find out today. I'm not saying you're going to find out, but I will definitely find out. What have they done? What have they done?
Stop people going down for everyone to investigate this here. Yeah, look, see?
So they've corralled everyone in. So they've gone and closed Westminster Bridge. They closed Westminster Bridge just to agitate the crowds, to prevent them from getting to their destinations, to do anything they can to prevent this event from taking place. So they closed the bridge for that specific reason, so mate. Absolutely. So they are, you know, it's. Oh, okay, yeah. They've done all this to create problems, to block everyone in, trap people, so there could be something bad happening, right? They want to corral us in. And, you know, what for? Why? In a desperate attempt to save us, or save ourselves from a crush, they've broken down the fence, even though there's security trying to prevent us from doing that. People need to be able to get out. They've been trapped in. They forced us in. They trapped us in here. Show you the evidence, the fence, to block us in, so we couldn't walk down these stairs. We had to break the fence to get through. To save our lives, say, we've had to push through the fence. And look at this. To jump over the road. Women and children can't do that right now. So people can get crushed. Okay, Starmer, mate. What are you playing at? Sadiq Khan. What are you playing at? But so far there's been no violence, and let's hope it stays that way. yeah, that got a bit hairy. And there were people trying to agitate, people putting their Palestinian flags out of their windows, trying to agitate the crowd. You know, and obviously they would have got a lot of whatever they wanted, you know, for the media. But you know, it's a real shame because these people, everyone here on this march is here because they love this country, British, whatever it is, they love this country, love the laws of this country, the former laws of this country. Because the laws have changed and they've become very anti, as you can hear. There's a real dislike for Keir Starmer because of the policies he's implemented, but more importantly how he's not just affected the working classes, he's affected so many other people, middle classes. So even if I'm here in an independent role or just an objective role, a lot of what Keir Starmer's done has impacted me personally. So I have every right to be here just because I'm not happy with what his policies have done to me personally. But there are things changing, and the changes are, so people they're too rapid. And there's never been any desire to integrate people into communities and to understand the perspective of people from other nationalities, as well as the people who are here. You have to listen to both sides, and they haven't done that. And as a result, what we're seeing is a sea of people marching for freedom, as it would seem. You know, some freedom of speech, freedom from what they would say is the tyranny of the leaders that we have today. But do those leaders represent them? Do they represent the working class? For over 2 hours, and I've had we're going past Waterloo Station now, and I've had no negative. I've spoken to so many different people, and I've had no negative feeling from anybody. No one's made me feel that I don't belong here or I shouldn't be here. Yeah, there's obviously going to be ethno-nationalists and people who are here for different reasons. But there are people here just because, you know what, they just feel there's a great injustice being done in their country. And it's a voice that needs to be listened to. We cannot allow these voices to go unheard, can't? Because if we do that, that's going to bring about the problems we are seeing, the division we're seeing, the counter-protests we're seeing. Just to label them as far right is, I think, it's too easy to do that. You have to be amongst them, you have to speak to them. And that's exactly what I've done today, exactly what I will continue to do. And the only opportunity they have to speak out is online. And that's why you're seeing all of this anger online. And because people are not able to speak out, you know, or have someone speak up for them without being labelled a fascist or far right. That's the issue. The question people need to ask is, why are people coming out to these events? Why? Why do they need to do this? That's the thing. It always has to be a reason. You cannot mobilise as many people. You cannot do unless there is some serious problem going on in the UK. British people just aren't that way inclined. What I want to capture is more, you know, what is called, you know, the way the media watching.
That's the media.
Yeah, I know. What I mean is seeing, because these helicopters, all they do, they add to the, do you know what I mean, to the stress. seen in my history, my experience, they're not that way inclined. They don't rise up together like this. There's always other voices speaking to them to mobilise the whole working class, not the whole working class obviously, but this number of people take something and it says something about how wrong things are in this country today. And I didn't need to know why. I didn't need to know why. Why is Donald Trump so popular? Why is Tommy Robson so popular?
Because our civilization is on the brink of destruction. As a result of mass immigration, we are losing our homelands. We are becoming minorities in our own countries. In many cities, this is already the case. Here, where we are today in London, a shocking 41% of all people are foreign-born, and the total immigrant population lies at 60%. I don't have to tell you what the consequences of that are. The fruits of mass immigration are insecurity, impoverishment, and cultural decay. Here in London, you can't walk around with your phone in your hands without the risk of it getting stolen. But who cares about phones when your daughters are being raped and the perpetrators who do it tell them that that is what white girls are for?
An amazing event and really rallying the people of Britain.
Elon, none of this could have happened without you giving the British public access to the truth and giving us free speech and fighting for our free speech. So on behalf of Great Britain and the British
This t-shirt that I'm wearing is quite British author, George Orwell. What would Orwell think? I think that's generally a good way to look at these things. He would want freedom of speech. He would want the people to know what's real. He'd want the people to fight against government oppression and fight for the truth and fight for the future of Britain.
Grateful for your time. We know what a busy man you are. Why is it important for you to be here today speaking at this Unite the Kingdom event?
Well, I'm of primarily British heritage, British ancestry. I want Britain to be greater than it ever has been. I want Britain to remain Britain. I think that there's something beautiful about being British.
Yes.
And is a destruction of Britain. Initially a slow erosion, but a rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with massive uncontrolled migration, a failure by the government to protect innocent people, including children who are getting gang raped. Unreal. The government has failed in its duty to protect its citizens, which is a fundamental duty of government. This has got to stop. There needs to be massive government reform. And the people need to be in charge, not some bureaucracy that doesn't care.
Elon, I believe that's what we started today. Powered by the people, sending a message worldwide. Elon, you spend an incredible lot of money on X. Why is free speech so important to you?
You can't get to the truth of things without freedom of speech, without active debate. There's so many on the left that want to just crush debate and put people in prison just for talking, as you were, just for speaking their mind. And, you know, the essence of democracy is it should be a government for the people, by the people. And in fact, this is a government against the people and not for the people. This is why everyone is gathered here today. Something's got to be done. This is unacceptable. the government needs to be responsible for the people of Britain. It needs to protect Britain. It needs to protect those who cannot protect themselves, especially the children. And when I read about some of the horrific stories and how the government did nothing and tried to hide it, they try to hide these horrific crimes. And then you see how much violence there's on the left, with our friend Charlie Cook getting murdered in cold blood this week, and people on the left celebrating it. The left is the party of murder and celebrating murder. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. That's who we're dealing with here.
I went to the event today. I was expecting a very different response from people. I thought people would basically look at me as a person of colour and think that, you know what, we don't want to talk to you, we don't want you here, right? That's what we've been hearing, right? We've been hearing that from the media, but this is basically a racist event, right? Far-right event. That's not what I received. That's not what I experienced. So can you tell us what you thought of the event and what happened in the event today?
What I liked about it most was the patriotism. Everyone getting together for one common cause, and that's what I liked about it, everyone getting together.
Why was it important though for you?
Well, you know, we feel as though our country's being taken over and we just want our country back, basically. Yeah, and also, you know, we want our families safe, and that's really what it's all about.
Brilliant. Do you feel that your politicians are listening to you at all?
No, they don't. They couldn't give a toss about us. No.
Yeah, I could hear the rejection. There was a lot of anti-Keir Starmer stuff.
My speech.
The government couldn't give a toss about us.
And
It's as simple as that.
But why?
That's
why do you think?
I don't know why. I'm absolutely baffled as to why they don't. That does baffle me.
But it's not. From what I got, I didn't see it as a black and white thing.
No, it's not. It's not a black and white thing at all. No.
Everyone I met today told me they were just like, you know, if you're British, you're part of it, you love the country, you know, they're happy to have you here. Is that what you do agree?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I would say that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
100%.
Yeah. Not a problem with anyone coming here, working. You know.
It's just that we want the women and children, you know, our kids to go out and not be attacked or anything, you know what I mean, which has been happening. And we just want the place to be safe. You know?
Are you referring to
grandchildren? You know, I don't want my grandchild being brought up afraid to go out, and you know, I want them to be safe.
Like it used to be.
Yeah, so in other words, like in the 80s and 90s, kids could go out on their bikes, something else.
We just want our old country back.
But what's changed though? What do you think's changed?
Well, it's all the immigrants, isn't it, that's come in. We don't know who they are. You know, you hear of all the rapes, and you know, it's just not. It's just not a safe country anymore.
Thank you.
Tourists. Who would be? If I was a tourist, I wouldn't touch this place. I wouldn't come here.
So how do you see Tommy? Is Tommy? Because people saw Tommy as Tommy was someone they put him in prison. They didn't want him to have a voice.
You know, he stood up for us, and he. You know, you've only got to applaud the guy for having the guts to do it, to stand up against, you know, the government and say, you know, this is wrong, and that's what he's doing.
So when you saw Elon Musk come up and speak, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. For someone of his stature to support us, fantastic.
So do you feel vindicated though, as well? Vindicated that someone's actually listening to you?
Yeah. We need listening to, because you know, we want our country back. We just want it to be safe.
And the other politician, Ben, he was like, you know, this is all wrong. You know, it shouldn't be like this, the way it is now. It's got to change.
Why would I, a British politician who believes in democracy, give up the opportunity to speak to the British people? The question. The question is not whether or not Ben Habib should be here. The question is, where are the other bloody leaders of the political party?
Can I ask a question? Obviously, it's a stinging question, but are you far right?
No.
No, absolutely not.
All we're interested in is our families and keeping them safe.
And what I noticed was loads of women and children, people in wheelchairs. Everyone was safe. Everyone was so polite to each other.
Yeah.
It was a total opposite of what I expected.
You've got the police walking in amongst us.
Yeah.
They must feel safe to do that.
Come on! Thank you. Welcome England. Welcome Scotland. Welcome Wales. And let's not forget, welcome Northern Ireland. Where is the collectively, we are the United Kingdom of Great Britain.
So, where are you from?
I'm from London.
You're from
I
London?
live in Sussex now.
Okay.
I grew up in Enfield, North London.
Okay. So, why are you here?
I'm here with my friend. We're here to explore, see what's going on with the Tommy Robinson March, see some of the people there, and have an understanding of how this nation looks and what the people who believe in this country, say. So we went there to, basically support England and support Britain and the unity of the country and free speech, but also to understand, what the line is, the political line of some of the more radical people in this country.
So, when you saw Elon Musk, how did you feel about that?
Sorry, on Musk.
Elon Musk was there. What did you feel when you saw him?
It was a positive thing to see him. Slightly mismatched, I think, in terms of some of the beliefs, but he wanted to bring a kind of common sense, I guess, futurist view to some of these things. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool seeing him. Obviously, it got a lot of people in the crowd quite riled up in a good way. And I think the right are very much aligning themselves with tech. And so it made sense bringing him on. It was good.
Corporations and organisations. A lot of people don't understand why we're allowing mass uncontrolled immigration into all Western nations. Do you believe that there are powerful forces outside elected officials, some are controlling governments, that are trying to control the flow of information? How do we resist that pressure?
I think when you look at the behavior of organizations, people, you have to say, what is the incentive for these organizations? And frankly, there's a massive incentive on the left to import voters. So if they can't convince their nation to vote for them, they're going to import people from other nations to vote for them.
Well, when someone looks at you, they would never assume that you'd have anything to do with what they would deem as a far-right thug.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, people, because obviously you're middle class. I would assume you're middle class, right?
Yeah, we're both half working class, half middle class.
Okay, so yeah, but then people would assume, this is a working class problem. It's not something that the middle classes they would believe that they're unaffected by, all the stuff they're talking about. So I just want to say, so you're here to support Tommy Robinson, right? Or just to support the message?
Not to support Tommy Robinson, but to support England and support Britain. We both love this country. We both believe that this country is founded in beauty and in a form of patriotism to the United Kingdom is about supporting the achievements of this country, the history of this country, and we wanted to come here and see, what are these people standing for? What do they look like? Do they, are these head held high citizens of this country, or are they people that are, losers and weak? And I think it's important as a political movement, if we believe in free speech and we believe in putting ourselves in the public eye. Are we mature, responsible, head-screwed-on people with strong beliefs that are backed up by reason, or are we kind of, the losers? I think that's really important. And so, what I saw today was a mix, I have to say. I think some people don't really know much about this country. They just want to kind of be loud and shout. And there's other people there that I thought were very, very smart. They had their reasons and their sort of philosophy backed up in everything they were saying, and I was happy to see that some of those people standing up today.
So do you think there's going to be any kind of positive change from this event today?
I think it's not so much about what's being said. I think it's about the bravery of coming out, especially on a week where Charlie Kirk has been shot for his ideas and for speaking out. A man who spent his adult life, standing up for free speech, but not just for free speech, but also for living free speech, debating people and dying what he loved. I think it's so important to have the bravery to stand up, and I think it's a very, very beautiful thing to see. The people coming out today after what's happened this week with Charlie Kirk.
Okay, and do you think change is needed, or do you think that we have a system that's working?
We have massive needs of change in this country. I think if you look at the culture of this country, it's been diluted, it's been disrespected for decades, for maybe even up to a century, and the right to stand up and fight for the nation and to believe in the future of it as well, has been disrespected, and I think change is needed for sure.
Are you far right?
Yeah.
You're far right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean to be far right?
I think it means that you have to believe in the European way of life, and how what is it about Europeans, especially in this case English people? What did we create? What did we give to the world? What is beautiful about it? And how do you defend it? And I think that the way that it should be defended is through the people who have created the technology, the philosophical progress, have to stand up and have to be representatives of that. And I think that's also about being Christian, and it's about tolerance, but tolerance for good people. That's my belief.
But far right is associated with like fascism and things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, fascism is a far right ideology, but also nationalism as well. And nationalism is about loving your country, and that is also far right. And I think that loving your country is not about hating other people. It's about defending what you have created, and it's about building something and having a strong foundation for it.
So do you accept integration and assimilation as an answer to creating some kind of positivity in this country?
Yeah, what does integration mean?
Integration in terms of people from other nationalities come in and living amongst you, integrating, studying with you and things like that. Is that something that you accept?
Yeah.
Marrying into marriage, or you just not into that at all?
Yeah. So integration is something that's not part of a group, coming into a group and becoming part of it and furthering it. That's very, very different from individuals moving into a nation and just existing in it with their own beliefs. Integration is an extremely difficult, careful thing that has to be managed carefully, and you can't just do it en masse. But you also can't do, if you let people in who do not respect your country, do not respect its values, and do not want to further it, the values and the things that you've built as a nation, but also the people, and those people who have created those technologies and those things in our society, the values, then you destroy it immediately. And so integration is an interesting idea, but you have to understand, what are you integrating into? Well, you're integrating into a British way of life which has existed for thousands of years. And that can't just be trodden on and destroyed by just allowing anybody in who doesn't swear allegiance to that legacy and lineage.
So what do you think about Sharia law then, being implemented in some shape or form into the UK?
Definitely not. I mean, I think that's a clear-cut question. I don't even think that needs to be argued, to be honest. Just not. It doesn't work with the law set. I think we pretty much all agree, everyone who came today. I think it's one of those arguments that's already been had.
So you see it as a culture clash?
Massively. I mean, I'm sure you two would both completely agree with that and see no way.
Yeah, well, obviously we know that there is something very, very wrong in society, obviously, and it's about trying to find a way to make that work. And obviously, the solutions, that's what we have to get to. And obviously, Tommy Robinson mentioned quite a few of the solutions, but it's whether or not this happens or not, and how the British public respond to that.
Well, we're a Christian country, and a Christian country, not a country that simply, we can tolerate other nations. The British Empire, for example, had an extreme level of religious tolerance when we were governing and working, operating in other countries as well, and cultural tolerance as well. But at the top of that society was a class of people who were capable of managing complex ideas in a nation. For example, in India, there were Muslims, there were Hindus, there were secular people, and there were many other religions within that nation. But we managed it as a Christian empire. And only Christians are capable of doing that, of managing a complex world and nation, and not forcing people to convert to our religion, but convincing them of the values. And the values have to come from the strength of those people. And if we're ugly, and if we're weak, and if we're losers as a faith, then we also cannot have something that people are inspired to join and to be part of. So I think the problem is not removing people, it's not blaming other people, it's being strong ourselves, being examples of our faith and examples of our beliefs. And integration as well, especially in the example of Sharia law, you know, it has nothing to do with this nation, has nothing to do with the history of this nation. A Christian country, it cannot become. Well, we're a secular country, but we're a secular country with a Christian history and a Christian monarchy, and you cannot tread on that or destroy it. And you have to admit that if you are coming to this country, you at least admit that it's a Christian country, and you can be a Muslim within it.
Brilliant. And thank you for defining that distinction. And the reason why I mentioned is middle class, because my kids look like you guys. So, do you know what I mean? So I pretty much, I just thought you looked middle class, because my kids are middle class.
Yeah. It sounds like you're somebody that greatly respects this country and the values that it has.
Yeah, well,
and
of
you know,
course.
I have full belief that somebody like you, who has probably family and parents that have come to this country to contribute to it, are, you know, great people who are, you know, both of you welcome in this country, and people who are, as I say, far right should believe that, should have a respect for that. I think what's the worst thing here is that people from the same history, with similar backgrounds, have no respect for what exists here, have no respect for the thing that we've built, and therefore completely undermine the beauty of this idea of multiculturalism that we have.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, guys. Wonderful.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.